We're doing it live. We're doing it live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Take or Try podcast. I'm your host, Greg Dowd. And the topic for tonight is tactical wokeness a good strategy? And this was prompted because I was listening to a John, Nicole, and Billy Bond earlier today, where they were talking about using the wokeness as a way to get around some of the food ordinances against people growing their own food in their local area. Things like you can't have all these chickens, and well, my chickens identify as pets, and the tobacco, like growing your own tobacco and then selling and marketing that. And this tobacco, this product is trans tobacco. This identifies as chewing gum, and so it's okay. So lay off. All right. And if you say otherwise, you are a bigoted, racist, homophobe, anti-Semite. And is that a good tactic? Is that a good tactic to use in the clown world that we live in? And that's the question for tonight that I was going to talk about. I mean, it could be applied to so many things. That there's just endless possibilities for driving the wokeness. Is this just being comedic? Is it being ironic? And if somebody catches on your game, is it all over? I don't know. Maybe it's a worthwhile tactic to throw the absurdity back in the society's face, and not take ourselves too seriously as well. So, something I was thinking about when they brought that up today. I thought that might be an interesting topic to talk about and catch you guys up on stuff that's been going on as well. So over the weekend, I was able to work with Logan on the property some more, and we got some more good stuff done. Actually, before we went over there to go check out the property, there was a gentleman out in the same area that my property's at that is looking to go off grid and put in a solar power system. And so we went out to his land and did like a site survey on what his land looks like and his plans for his build, and about how much power he would need for his system. And just walked around, and he's got a good spot figured out where he's going to put his house and all that, and talked to him and had a really good conversation with him. And we got into talking about a lot of things, and he was like an ex-military guy, and just getting on a conversation about what's going on in the military these days. And this is a theme that I've been listening to, and some other podcasts as well, is talking about the newest Defense Authorization Act, the new NDAA. They want to basically put you in an auto draft situation from the ages of 18 to 26. However, apparently this has been going on for quite a while. uh, in many states. So as soon as you get your driver's license, you're like automatically signed up for the selective service. And yeah, I remember this when I was younger, like coming out of high school, they were basically telling you that if you didn't sign up for selective service, that you would, be denied certain things. And like, I don't even think like if you didn't sign up, if there would really be any repercussions, unless maybe maybe there would if you're going after some kind of a federal employment or something like that is a possibility for not signing up for the selective service. But it is kind of interesting that they're doing that, and kind of like not giving you the option to opt out. But apparently that's been going on for quite a while. But it's different in different states. But this would, I guess, eliminate that across the board, as it would be applied federally. And the folks, like Jack Spirko was talking about this on his podcast. Uh, Sign up for selective service, and talking about how pretty much the recruitment goals for the military have they're not meeting their recruitment goals, and so they've changed the requirements on a lot of the people to sign up for the military, and reduce those requirements. And that was a conversation that we got into with this gentleman that we were out there talking to on his property. Was that he was he was sharing some stories about training training some of the recruits and stuff like that, and putting them through some different trials, and then getting some heat for some of the tactics he was doing, because he was being too mean to the recruits or something like that. And just talking about how a lot of the good guys left because of all the requirements they were putting down on the military, including getting all the wonderful jabs and everything that was going on at the time of the coup. So very very much so, like, um the military has gone to the level of clown world and the absurd. And it's all about, in my opinion, and has been for a long time, is to stay outside of the system as much as possible. And I think it actually is a good thing that the military recruitment is down and people aren't joining the military and staying out of these foreign conflicts. Like, what are you going to get? I mean, I could see where some people, you get like the ability to get a scholarship to go to college or something like that. But I mean, what is college really buying you these days, other than ladling you a debt, and you're not guaranteed anything after you graduate, because the market is flooded with college degrees. So, is it more worth it to go into some kind of a trade, and like work your way up to something and make some pretty good money while you're working in that trade, and then go off and do something on the side that you're more passionate about, to really become an entrepreneur, and or just go the entrepreneurial route. Like, I mean, think about the amount of tuition money that goes into people going into college these days, and what you could do business wise in developing some kind of a small business, and instead of going to college and just like learning on the fly and learning learning things from people that are doing similar stuff that your vision of where you want to be and what you want to do and what you're passionate about. Do Going and shadowing somebody that's doing that kind of thing, or taking classes and courses and workshops that people are offering out in the market there and on the internet and through videos and all the different ways that you learn as an adult is seeking out people that have competency in the area that you're looking to understand something in, and then learning from them and doing those kind of things, shadowing them until you figure out how to do it yourself, and then branch off and start something on your own. Um, the world, I think, is actually going into this, like the system and the society has become it's so absurd, and I think you'll see maybe more and more that the people that understand how absurd the world is being, that maybe some of that absurdity gets reflected back onto the society, and it shows just how far the ridiculousness is gone. And guys like Alex Stein that I watch from time to time. Actually, I love watching the Pimp on a Blimp eating steak and shrimp. And he just puts the wokeness back in their face, and when he talks about that, it's he was attempting to be really serious in the beginning when he started his whole thing, and nobody's really listening to him until he started to make his himself like a caricature of the whole society itself, calling it culture jamming, like throwing the culture back in everybody's face, and really kind of pointing out just the absurdity of everything and where it leads. So yeah, that's, I guess, the overall idea behind the topic for tonight's podcast is that I'd like to ask you guys, like, what is an effective strategy to you? Have you ever thought of throwing the wokeness back at the system and using it to your advantage for things that you're wanting to accomplish and get done? I think it could be fun, and it is maybe a worthwhile strategy to implore or to explore. Sorry. So yeah, this is one of the things that after we went out to the property to go do that site survey, we went out to my land and we began the work on making an area that we're going to build a 12 by 12-foot cabin as the first little rental structure that we can put up on the land. And so we broke ground on the first site, and so this is a little time lapse that is playing of on my other channel, on the Take the Ride 23 channel, my fitness channel, of us clearing that little piece of land, that little area right there where we're going to put this little cabin. And so we got the materials after we got back from that guy's place and checking out what he wants to do with his solar and coming up with a strategy for him on that power system, and went over to the property to go work on getting the area cleared around where we're going to build and getting some holes dug so that we can build the support structure for the base of the cabin, so the floor system for the cabin. So what we're ending up doing here is we are using these 12-inch diameter forms for concrete, and they're like, uh, I think they're probably like 4 foot long. So we'll be cutting those in half and then putting those in the ground. So there'll be like 2 feet of concrete there in the ground, and then putting some gravel in at the bottom, so the water will go away from the foundation of those concrete pillars that we're going to put up. Got all the concrete for that and got some brackets, and I was helping my dad build this porch, this little deck, this 8x8 deck is where getting the thinking for this, because I was watching a lot of videos on people putting in their support structures, and even if you have treated lumber, if you like take that treated lumber and you just go into concrete in the ground, that treated lumber can rot away and it doesn't last. So so watching some videos, there were people that suggested pouring your concrete foundation and then putting your support beams, which are going to be 6x6 treated pieces of lumber, onto those supports, onto those brackets, screwed in with some of these timber frame screws, so that's going to be the base for the cabin, and be something that will be uh, holding up, that'll hold up for a really long time. So that's the strategy there, and we got all the holes dug for that, laid out the perimeter of the cabin, and the way this is going to work is that we're going to build the support beams and then put some 2x10s on those 6x6s, and then build the floor system on top of that. So we don't have to be so accurate with where we place those beams, because it just needs to fit. Our floor system just needs to fit on top of that, on top of basically those 2x10s that we're putting in on those 6x6s. So we don't have to be so precise with how we mount those beams. We talked about a few different ways in like just direct bury, and some other ideas on how to do this, and like charring the wood and putting it in the ground, and you know other ways, um but I think this will be the most long lasting, the least amount of maintenance required, and be really strong, and hold up for a long time. So that's what we got done over the weekend, and then it was Sunday, had Father's Day, and my family got together and we went and played some top golf. My brother treated us all to some top golf, and went out there and hit some golf balls on the range and just had a good family day. So um, really enjoyed that, and getting to hang out with the family there. It was nice and relaxing. I've been pretty nonstop lately, doing a lot of different things. Keeping up with the workouts daily, and getting out there on Saturdays to develop the property. Also, new update on that, on the property as well, is the I got the water service, a new water service set up down there. So they're supposed to be putting a meter in on the property this week for the water, and hadn't had water service out there, hadn't turned that on yet. I was just collecting rainwater and filling up some containers, some of those IBC totes out there. But if people are going to be staying out there and we're going to be renting, doing like a hip camp situation, I'd like to have that city water hookup out there so that people can get the water that they need while they're camping out there. So got that hooked up. Should They should have installed a new meter this week. Paid my deposit for that. It was like $150 to get the new service or the new meter installed out there, and then I need to go out there and do all the plumbing work to put in just a like one of those frost free little spigots out there and trench a little bit and drop my water line, my main line that's going to come into the property. Install that. I've got to have like a cutoff valve and a check valve, and if I want to put a pressure regulator on there, uh, put my own pressure regulator on my side of the water meter. So, and then once I get all that done, I guess they'll come out and they'll check it out, and they will unlock the lock that's on the valve to let me have water, city water. So yeah, that'll be a big step, is getting that water hooked up, and we'll need it to get our concrete mixed and put in for our forms for building the concrete forms for this little cabin. And if they don't get that turned on right away, then we'll be able to use some of the captured rainwater that I have on the property. So we'll figure it out either way. So yeah, this coming up Saturday, we'll be working on getting that part of the structure built, and hopefully we can get that completed and get the floor system in preparation for putting up all the walls and getting all the materials to get all that stuff done. So this Saturday will be a pretty big work day again, and lots of cool things, just going through my mind about the property and everything that we can do down there, being the big vision for the property to be a permaculture demonstration, and listening to a great podcast with Nick Ferguson and Jack Spirko today. I think that everybody should go check this one out. Was the this most recent one on the Survival Podcast, talking about how you can basically set up your homestead so that you are um, you can eliminate the feed store. So it was a really good podcast to go check out. So if you got some time, definitely put this one in your save this episode for your posterity, and put it in some kind of I'd say this one would be good to put in an archive of some kind, your own personal video archive. Go download the video and archive it. So let me see if I can make sure to pull this up and you guys can check this out. So let me stop sharing there. Let me go back over to here. Let me go to present. And here's the video. Silvopasture and grazing feeds communities. And they were talking about, even if you have a lot of land, that using that land, that doing the grazing in your animals in the most amount of calories that you'll be able to get off of a piece of land is going to come from livestock. And talking about how you create these silvopastures. So instead of these, giant open pastures, to have a lot of these trees on the land that can help feed the animals, as well as, providing shade for them and kind of turning it into like the most productive lands they were talking about are the savannas, the grasslands, and they're like they have trees, but they're like sporadic throughout the land. So, talking about all these herd animals going through those lands, they're manuring and they're adding fertility to the soil. And, as they're working through, they're like kind of tilling the soil with their hooves and everything. And those trees provide as like little outposts for them to get out of the heat and, chill out for a little bit. So really, really good episode there to go check out. And then, yeah, the show that inspired the topic for tonight, that one came from uh, Living Free in Tennessee, and John Willis. And so Nicole Sauce, John Willis, and Billy Bond, Perma Pastures Farm, all getting together for a conversation. Um, and Billy bringing up the thought about why hasn't anybody created like a clean tobacco? And then they were getting into talk about how that you get yourself involved with the folks at the good old ATF when you're talking about any of those three things: alcohol, tobacco, or firearms. But what if you labeled it as something woke to be able to get around the regulations and didn't sell it as like a nicotine product or a tobacco product, but something else instead? So, uh, you know, pretty cool. I don't know, cool talk. I thought it was a really good conversation that all three of them had, and just talking about like getting started with something in general. And the big thing about any kind of endeavor you're going to do, I think one of the big parts of it is getting started. And I know that in my own health journey here, one of the big parts was just having somebody say, why don't you get this thing started, man? Like focus on your health and just start. And you know set your mind to that and focus on that. And it is hard to get going in the beginning, but keeping yourself accountable in some way and finding other people that are in your area that are going to help you accomplish the goals that you've set for yourself and help hold you accountable and stay on task and stay focused on your goals is like a super helpful thing. So, finding those people in my life has been a huge blessing for me, and in not just feeling alone, but like actually getting things accomplished and getting some things going. So Tim Riley, thanks for showing up, man. You're kicking ass, taking names, strong as an ox, and starting an agritourism hip camp. Yeah, man, that's what's going on. That's what's up. And if you think otherwise, then you're a racist, bigot, homophobe. So that was the theme of tonight's episode, man. Is like talking a little bit about like using the wokeness as a tactic, and I thought that was such a you know I think it's a very effective strategy. Actually, is actually using the absurdity of our society and then reflecting that back in parody and irony and comedy. I find myself listening to a lot of comedians lately, watching a lot of comedy because, those are the people that can actually tell the truth in a society gone mad. Is that all the comedians is pointing out how absurd things really are through their observations, and then just throwing that back at people. And that's how you get the most laughs too, is actually by telling the truth about a situation. I think is just pointing out that everything is so absurd. So yeah. Tim, man, also your video there on the tree workshop there out at John's place. Dude, you are like super knowledgeable about all the trees and everything. I learned so much watching that video. I thought that was super instructional there with teaching all about the trees and taking care of the trees. So that's one that I need to put in my own archive, video archive, because that was super helpful, man. That's one of the things that I really want to I'd like to learn this year is to learn how to do some grafting, because we do have some. I know you didn't really they didn't really touch on the grafting aspect on that tree video. At least I didn't see the. But talking about you talked about how you can graft onto other trees, um, that are like that create the same similar kind of fruit or something like that. So I'd like to learn more about that whole aspect of grafting, because we have some pear trees that are here that don't produce like a good pear fruit, but there's another person in our neighborhood that has like a productive pear tree. So I'm wondering if I could take some of the take like one of their limbs off of that productive tree and then graft it onto one of our pears that's not creating like uh you know a pro- it's not creating productive fruit. Um so yeah, it would be interesting to learn that. uh Dude, yeah, I mean, gosh, that was you gave a treatise on all those trees, man, and that was like it was really good information that you threw out there. I really liked that video, and so super knowledgeable about everything tree related. So I was like, man, I thought I knew something about trees, but then I was like, damn, Tim, you really know what you're doing, talking about, and the depth of knowledge you have is really good. So, uh, yeah, if you guys haven't seen that episode, that's over on John's channel on SOE Tactical, uh, and Tim giving a workshop on trees, and you got to go check that out. So let me see if I can pull up that video. See, SOE Tactical. So yeah, these are like three recent videos, all from folks in the network that I've met through SRF, and that you should definitely put in your video archive on helping you survive and thrive and in the coming years. And one of the things that these guys are talking about is like, do do this stuff where you are. Don't let the way the world is dictate how you move into the future. Do the things that you can affect, and those things are like, getting out there and planting trees, and getting with folks that are in your local community to, you know do gardening efforts, raising animals, figure out how you can like trade with each other, building these parallel systems as we go live in clown world, as the clown world progresses. So yeah, go check out that video, how to plant trees, on uh SOE's channel, John Willis's channel there. That was super important information for any of y'all that are looking to get your like food forests and stuff going. So Tim, you can definitely do that. Best time to do it is in the spring when the sap starts to run. Okay. So I'm guessing I probably missed the window for grafting, but uh for that pear tree, but maybe I can figure it out by the time spring rolls around next year. And yeah, I've tried it a few times, like with the Bradford pear tree that I think was mentioned, that you could graft a similar fruit onto the Bradford pear tree. Um, I think I attempted to do that, but uh, maybe it was like with two different trees or something like that. And I guess I've never really figured it out. But one of the guys in our group has been experimenting with doing different grafts and things like that. So maybe he could teach a class, or he could come and show us a little bit in our Freedom Cell group about how you could do some grafting. And that would be really helpful to learn. So um so what else was I gonna look up here? Yeah, this issue with this new NDAA act going through, talking about automatically registering you for the selective service here. So let's see. I'm not sure what all this is. It going to be just like everybody 18 to 24, or is it? It looks like it's just going to be men age 18 to 24. So let's see. Let me pull this up here. Let's see. And Tim is saying, so you're saying definitely in art, usually get about 50% of the graphs to take. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Cause I know you got to like keep everything lined up. And then for Nick talk about, yeah, you can use graph tape, but he just used like electrical tape on something, and then like different techniques for doing that stuff. So, and I got one of those little grafting pruner things, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I really need to like go learn from somebody that's done it successfully. But I guess you do need to, since you're saying 50% of the graphs take, then like you got to do a bunch of them and then see how it turns out. So let me see if I can share this. So so what's going on here? Uh this is from Times Now World, and June 15th. Uh The House on Friday passed a measure to automatically register men 18 to 26 for selective service. This bill was part of the National Defense Authorization Act, which sets U.S. military national security priorities over the next year. Fiscal year, a whopping 895 billion has been authorized in military spending, a 9 billion increase from fiscal 2024. Yeah, so I guess the military recruitment's been down, and they gotta get more people into the military, and especially with them ramping up a bunch of stuff for poking the bear over there in Russia, and what's been going on between Israel and Palestine. That that maybe something's on the horizon here, and it's not looking too good. uh, and the military recruitment being down, and the military growing woke and all that kind of stuff. Uh, so yeah, I was talking earlier. I think the more you can keep your kids out of the military, you know, young people out of the military, and focus them on defending their communities. And the founding of the country, from what I understand, was about having local people that are armed that can be able to defend their individual communities without the need for a standing army. And I I feel like the direction the system is going, that it's kind of inevitable that that force, I guess you would say, uh, kind of dwindles out and goes more back to a localized type thing. So I think that these measures that they're doing is kind of is a pretty desperate thing, and like auto drafting you into the military, not having any kind of say in that. Apparently, that's been going on for a long time. Like when you get your driver's license and you sign, I guess, for your driver's license and all that. And if you're in that age range, you're automatically signed up for the draft as for selective service as well. So it's one of those things where what's gonna happen, like, are they gonna come after everybody if they do some kind of a draft and nobody shows up on the day of, or how's that gonna play out if nobody believes in this system anymore, and what are they gonna do about that? So I say avoid getting yourself into the military with all these goons wanting to send you to go fight these basically endless wars for uh, these elites, sending you off to the meat grinder and doing way more productive things by focusing in on your own health and food production and taking care of yourself and your local communities is way more important than going off into these foreign conflicts. So definitely anything that is said on the podcast is definitely a coincidence. You should not take it as any kind of advice, and you should definitely not like read any books or anything discussed in the podcast. Definitely not. uh, there. Speaking of that, here's a book that you should definitely not go read. Uh, so if you went and looked up this book and tried to buy a physical copy, the last one that I saw as a physical copy of this book was like 4 grand to get this book. But it is probably one you should definitely not go check out for real. But But let's just see what this book is all about. So, State of Terror: How Terrorism Created Modern Israel. Um, yeah, you definitely should not go check that one out, or you should definitely not figure out a way that you could go download that book at all, and maybe figure out a way that you could find a place that you could download this book at all, and um, maybe read it for yourself. So, um, yeah, definitely don't do that. See, here's a site that I like to use right here. And this is a pretty good one for checking things out. libgen.is. So let's grab the title of that book there. Let's throw it into here. Let's go search. Let's go search for that. Get the correct title in there. You even get the author. So here we go. This is the aforementioned book there. And it's as easy as doing that and throwing it into a folder on your computer. So, yeah, guys, definitely you don't want to go read that book or, look into things at all. That's definitely not good for you, and it can't help with your overall thinking about how the world works or anything. So, all right. With that, guys, that's gonna wrap up my show for the week. As things go, I need to get a workout in for the day. I need to get my workout done, and then yeah, more progress to update. So stay tuned on the Tinker Tribe channel here of us building out the camp, and it will I will be putting out some kind of a discount code for anybody that listens to come stay with us at the camp, and wanted to turn that into something cool, where we can do workshops out there and have some events, and keep building it and keep building demonstration for all this kind of stuff out there, of becoming more self-reliant and permaculture, and working all these different systems in so that you can be more and more self-reliant on your own property. And I think that there's a lot of solutions in that, like wherever you're at. If you find yourself on a small piece of land, or if you're like I think probably one of the best strategies that I've heard from folks talking about this is like everybody coalescing in an area, like could be in in the suburbs somewhere, and just raising your own food, and like working together with your own individual properties in a in a suburb type scenario. And I think that's a great idea, where like-minded people can coalesce and like start working on projects together, and everybody's got their own little piece of land that they're working to do all these self-reliant stuff, but you can come together and everybody's within close proximity where you can get some really good stuff done. And I mean, I'll tell you what, like economically, like if you can figure out how you can create that parallel economy locally, and then be able to market those things better, um, by working together with each other, uh, that's what's going to be able to sustain people into the future. I think are these pockets of people coming together and in these different types of communities, uh, even if you're separated from other people. I think the work is to go put yourself out there and start doing these meetup groups or whatever you have to do online first, and then like getting to meet each other in real life, and doing things together, that it's going to help so much uh, with your own well-being. and I know it's helped me a lot by connecting with other people in my area that are doing the similar kind of thing, and wanting to do better for themselves, and helping each other with our various efforts and goals to get better and support each other. So if anything, just for that, like that's a huge deal. So if I leave you with anything tonight, let that be it, is to find your tribe and to go out and look for the tribe of folks that you can vibe with and feel uh like you're doing something productive, and work on yourself, like get yourself in better order. As I've been working on myself and working on my fitness, I've found that a lot of other different things have been following suit, like having more energy to get things extra stuff done, and doing these projects on the weekends and things, and not being totally burnt out from my work week of doing manual labor in my 9 to 5, and like being totally worn out. Like I've got extra energy to get more things done and more things accomplished, and better state of mind. Like if you're having problems with anxiety or depression, things like that, I think that exercise is a great way to deal with a lot of that stuff. Like, there's one thing that John said to me was, have any of those negative thoughts while you're sweating through and attempting to just make it through a workout, and you're pushing your body really hard. And when you're doing that, and afterwards, you're going to feel so much better because you accomplished that goal for the day, and getting that workout in, and feeling so much better about yourself and how you're going to have your physical appearance and your strength. Like I was helping a buddy of mine a couple weekends ago, just help him hold up this like low frequency inverter, because he needed to replace his one that he has been operating for a while, and he's going to do maintenance on that, and needed help putting this new one in. And I was just, before had started working out, it would have been like a real challenge for me to hold that thing up there. But, that I've been working out for a while, I was able to hold it up there. And while he was able to secure it, and those things are, if you ever picked up one of those low frequency inverters, they're like super heavy. Um, because like I think they use like a solid copper windings in them, with the way that it does the inverter, rather than like all the solid state electronics that the high frequency inverters use. So the high frequency ones are a lot lighter, but those low frequency ones are really heavy. So it was like a 4 kilowatt low frequency, or a 6 kilowatt. I think it was a 6 kilowatt. So it was pretty heavy, man. But anyway, I wouldn't have been able to do that if probably wouldn't have been able to even kind of like, I'd have to prop it up with something and like hold it in place there. But I was able to just like hold it because of all the work I've been doing on my fitness. So really makes a difference. And if you could start somewhere, start by planting something, raising some kind of animals or something, getting started with some kind of animals like a chicken, like chickens, or it, we're raising chickens back here. You got to worry about the predators, but you build them a good coop. They're a great one to start with. Start by planting some stuff in the garden and feeding that to your chickens, and feed your chicken scraps to the chickens and all that kind of stuff. Start there, and like start, you know, doing some kind of daily exercise. Really all it takes is like 10 minutes a day, man. Like 10, 15 minutes in your day, getting a workout done, and will make all a huge difference for your day. And that's for real. So, all right, y'all. Well, we'll catch you on the next stream, and I hope everybody has a good night. Have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.